Hello, everybody. Welcome back to what I believe is going to be the finale of Everlasting Summer, Part 16. At least I think it's going to be the finale. I'm not sure. If you really need a recap at this point, at the potentially last episode, that's probably a bad sign, but I'll give you one anyway. Oh yeah, we had sex and we kissed a girl, so that was pretty darn epic. And that girl was Eliza, so that was even more epic. But we did drink alcohol, which we lost some muscle protein synthesis. Not so epic. We woke up at 4, and everyone from camp left us on a bus, and now we're walking on a very long road. So that's where we are, and it's nighttime. Epic. Day 7. I guess we should make a camp for the night. Sorry, it's gotta get my voices right. There's not that much left to go. Are you sure? And even if that's so, it's better to travel during the daytime. You know best, she answered coldly. We stopped at the edge of a wood. Got anything useful in there? I pointed at the backpack. Have a look. Mainly footwear and clothes were there, but on the bottom I found a magazine and a box of matches, quite enough to light a fire. Soon we were sitting on a fallen tree and warming our hands by the fire. Only now did I finally realize that I'd finally gotten out of the damned camp. I'd found no answers. On the contrary, everything had become even more tangled, as I guess I am to spend the rest of my life in this reality. If I don't take into consideration all the sci-fi stuff, it's clear that I'm somewhere in the South at the end of the 80s. How, and more importantly, why I was brought here is not so important now, as I have to somehow adapt. And I ought to begin with the girl sitting by my side. So, what will we do now to reach the district center? Call our parents, what else? Eliza smiled slightly. She had someone to call. And then it's all over. Meaning, well, we'll leave for our homes, Baka. I wasn't really surprised by this answer. I just hadn't thought about what would happen after the term ended. And that's it. What else is there? I don't know. After all that happens. But nothing happened at all, Baka, she told me merrily. What do you mean nothing happened? You'll have a chance to find Lena. I was surprised, but Eliza said it absolutely kindly. As if I need Lena. Don't you? To be honest, Lena was the last person I was thinking about now. No. Then maybe it's me. I looked at Eliza attentively. She grinned spitefully, and she was weeping just recently. What about you? I evaded the question. What do you think about me? I don't know. Maybe you can just say it straight out. A long silence fell. Eliza is waiting for a straight answer, but I can't sort it out for myself. This pioneer camp, and now the girl, who wants to hear something I can't say that easily. You see, and then I really understood. Understood that now it's no use trying to be cunning and holding things back. I almost managed to break out of the cage. The worst is over. Or, on the contrary, the worst is yet to come, but it's time to speak plainly. You see, what you're expecting from me is almost impossible. Looks like everything's impossible for you. She sniffed. She sniffled. It's weird to say it, but it's true. I don't know what will happen to me. Not even necessarily tomorrow, but in the next second. And what might it be? Will you vanish into thin air? Quite possibly. She burst into peals of laughter. You know, I was ready for any excuses, but not one like that. There aren't excuses. Just listen. Eliza gazed at me attentively, and it seemed had no intention of interrupting. You see, I don't belong to this place. I'm not talking about the camp, but about the whole world. All of you here are completely strange, incomprehensible people to me. As you are for us, actually. I'm not even sure if you are from my planet or my reality. Quit it now. Eliza sighed tiredly. Imagine that once you fell asleep and woke up in a completely different place. And not just place, but a different time as well. That's what has happened to me. I used to live in the 21st century in a city far away from here. I was somewhat older than I look now. I had my own life, regardless of whether it was good or bad. It was my own. And then, one night, I took a bus, fell asleep, and woke up here. As a 17-year-old pioneer. Eliza looked at me in surprise. And you expect me to believe you? I don't know. It's up to you. It really wasn't easy for me to tell you that. You're a master storyteller, really. Just a sec. I rummaged through my pockets and showed her my phone. To my great surprise, there was still some battery, and the screen was glowing brightly. Have you ever seen something like this? Do you have something like this? I held it out for Eliza. She fidgeted with it, pressing buttons. Well, some kind of imported foreign toy. So what? It's not a toy. It's a telephone. And where are the wires? Where's the handset? She laughed. There's no need for them. Unfortunately, I can't demonstrate to you how it works because they're still not invented in your time. Yeah, sure, she said skeptically and handed me my phone back. Anyway, it's your decision whether to believe me or not. I told you all this only to explain what position I'm in now. I still don't know what would happen to me in an hour, so such decisions. Fine, you don't have to say anymore. And you don't have to make any decisions. She got up and pushed some firewood into the fire. If I've offended you... Nah, everything's fine, she said coldly. I understand. You're a visitor from the future, so normal girls like me don't interest you. You got me wrong. No, I didn't. It's a very credible, logical, and, above all, truthful tale. Any girl would dig it. So, you still think I'm making up excuses? Eliza stayed silent. Or that I've gone completely mad. One could expect anything from you. Why do you have to be like this? I said sadly. And what about me? I've done nothing wrong. She grinned spitefully. Just imagine that it's all true, and understand why I behave so. I already imagined, understood. That kind of scared the shit out of me. I was about to say something else, but a horn sounded from the road. There was a bus on the roadside. A liaise on a regular route. It's odd that we hadn't noticed its approach. At last, salvation. Shall we go? Eliza asked in a completely bland, emotionless voice. Yeah, sure. I grabbed the backpack. I can manage it myself. She took it from me. It's obvious that it was too heavy for her, but I didn't object. Soon we sat peacefully on the back seat of the bus. Various feelings fought inside of me. On one hand, I was glad beyond measure to get to the civilized world. On the other, I was stricken by the unfinished conversation with Eliza. Sorry that I acted so. You expected something different. I expected nothing of you, she replied coldly. I just wanted you to understand. And concerning our relationship, I like you, really. Glad to hear that. But her voice didn't sound so glad. I said it honestly. You see, I don't know what will happen next, but here and now. I guess last night you liked me even more. No, you misunderstood. Should we do it again while the driver can't see us? Calm down for a second, okay? I didn't even think about it. What's the matter? You want it, I don't care. It's the only thing I'm good for. Eliza, wait. Okay, I want to sleep. She reclined on her seat and closed her eyes. Wait a sec. I'm sleeping. Let's talk later. I didn't object. After all, it's good to seek counsel from your pillow. Besides, Eliza needs some time to calm down. Although, of course, I was desperate to explain everything to her in a way she'd understand. But I held back. Still, I was sick at heart. We were alone on the bus. Outside, dark shadows were passing by. Sometimes it was possible to discern a tree, river, or the pylons of a power transmission line, but the landscape seemed not to differ from the one in the camp. Maybe the world is a circle and we are just moving around it. Anyway, the surroundings were the least of my concerns now. I just stared at the floor and thought about tomorrow. What will happen? This city, this planet, this time, all are strange to me. And a further talk with Eliza, who was totally disappointed with me. The process of waiting happens to be more tiresome than its result. And finally, things bound to happen don't look so important or fearsome. All your strength is exhausted. There's just tiredness and emptiness in your soul. The bus was driving into the unknown. I couldn't resist and fell asleep. I wonder if it's going to say day 8. Day ... Alright. Apparently it doesn't register with the 8. This time, Eliza didn't show up on the side of the screen with the with that little transition. So I don't know what that means, but it's a thing. And she showed up the last 2 days, but not this time. So yeah. Yeah, okay. It seems I'm getting old. The day was over and the hangover should have been long gone, but I still felt sick and dizzy. Despite how hard I tried, I was unable to open my eyes. I just rolled over. I wonder what awaits me in the district center. How am I to live? Maybe it's not all that bad. Well, sure, I don't know where to begin, but on the other hand, this world doesn't seem hostile. I know a lot of things here. Everyone speaks Russian. So maybe nothing bad is going to happen. Suddenly I felt very sick. Damn it. I thought it was all gone by yesterday evening. Oh, we're back in real time, real life. I managed to reach the toilet, moving instinctively. After some time, when my dirty business was done, I returned to the room. And then I realized I'm back in my old flat. However, it's not so old. It seems that nothing had changed during the week of my absence. The dust layers haven't even grown thicker. The keyboard position, monitor incline, and the stain from a cup of tea on the table stung my eyes. Theoretically, a man in my condition shouldn't notice such details. But the entire room drew my attention to the most minor of details, as if it was twinkling with different colors. The socks were thrown around in exactly the same manner as they had been before. The blanket sat rumbled on the unmade bed as it was before. The dirty windows showed the same view on the street like a cracked kaleidoscope. In vain, I tried to become terrified, or at least scared. Maybe it's shock effect, PTSD, or something like that. After all, several hours ago, I wasn't even thinking of returning to the real world. The pioneer camp, the girls, Eliza, the mythical district center where I would have arrived if I hadn't woken up in my flat. All that had started to seem real to me. Maybe my fantastic vacation to Sovietnoke was just a dream. My feet started to rack up circles around the room. I held my hands behind my back and started to think everything over. Only one thing is clear. I've returned as suddenly as I arrived there, without any reason or logic. Maybe there was some sort of explanation, but it's beyond my or human comprehension. Whether it was a trick by interstellar forces, or a supreme mind, or government experience. I believe the last one to be the least likely. They left no clues. If I was unable to find answers in the camp, I would be foolish to expect things to become clearer here. It's like searching for evidence in a house that's been burned to ashes. Even if a crime was committed, all the evidence was destroyed by fire. Maybe if I had the skills and equipment of a criminologist, I could find something, but the memories of the weeks spent in the camp are all I've got. But it wasn't a dream. I knew it for sure. My hangover was absolutely real. My feelings and emotions were genuine, not just the stuff of dreams. Therefore, I've been there. I spent a week in Sylvian Oak Pioneer Camp with the camp leader and the pioneers, with Eliza. Memories of her made me sigh. It would have been great to leave with her. Wait a minute. What's wrong with me? I should be glad I returned home to the real world. Or shouldn't I? For now, I just couldn't evaluate the situation reasonably. I couldn't understand whether I wanted to stay there to enjoy my long-awaited return. I noticed a 5-ruble coin on the table. I took it and began to toss it up without any purpose, counting the number of heads and tails. A long time ago, maybe even in school, I heard that in an infinite number of coin tosses, the probabilities are not equal to 50% each. Maybe it's because a coin doesn't have a perfect shape and weights, or because of some other reason. However, after some time I counted 70 heads and 71 tails. So the theory of relativity lies. But I'm not the man to judge it. I don't know much about it. I recalled my childhood, when I had heard the word tails for the first time. Yes, because in everyone's childhood, they all recall the first time they hear tales. That's a very vivid memory of mine as well. I'm going to take a sip of water. For some reason, it always made me think of squirrels. Maybe there is some logic in this. A squirrel does indeed have a tail. Now this theory seems strange to me, but at the same time I couldn't find any conclusive evidence to disprove it. So, does it mean that squirrels come out more frequently than heads? But one must consider that a squirrel has a head as well, so... I yanked all my hair and sighed, exhausted. Now's not the time for thinking of such rubbish. On the other hand, what is now the right time for? What can I do? What is under my control? If I hadn't bothered trying to find answers during the week here, there would be no point of thinking now. Maybe I should just try to go back to my ordinary life. The words ordinary life were painful to me. Why did I choose that specific word? I could have said past, former, or something else. I guess because it was what I was used to. That's the most obvious answer. As they say, what you get used to becomes second nature to you. Instantly, all of last week's events floated before my eyes. Did I really want to stay there so badly? Was just 1 week enough for me to get used to Olga Dmitrinov picking on me all the time, Ulyana's pranks and joking around, or Eliza's cheekiness and mockery? I had no answer to the questions, but it's obvious that I already missed it, although I'm sure I'll never return there. Obviously, I can't tell whether the force that brought me there might want to entertain itself again, and again, and again. It is possible, but for now, I have what I have, an adventure that I'll remember for the rest of my life. Damn it, how many people get to experience something like that? Even books, even dreams about such things are unthinkable. The main thing is that it wasn't Dr. Morrow's evil island, but a normal Soviet pioneer camp with normal pioneers. And its commonness was overlaid by the astonishing origin of my arrival there. Anyway, it wasn't the worst experience of my life. Perhaps it was one of the best. Obviously, it's sad that everything just ended halfway through, though. But every story has an end. It's good that it has ended that way. Who knows what else could have happened? I wonder where the story's going from here. Genuine. Okay. Time passed. The events that took place in the camp now seem more like a fascinating novel I once read. No, I haven't forgotten them. I could recall them in the finest detail. I remember how, as a child, I used to lie under a blanket with a fleshlight and read a fascinating book about spaceflight until dawn. Sometimes I was unable to get up to go to school. My parents always used to scold me for that, but with every night approaching, I would carefully turn every page, trying to absorb every minor detail of the story. I had similar feelings about that pioneer camp. Reality, if I can consider it such, now seemed more like a book. I didn't think it was bad at all. In the end, the main thing is to remember. And it is not important whether these memories take the form of a slideshow, photos, video, or audio. Now each bus made me feel both fear and hope. At first I circled around the 410 route without purpose. Several times I fell asleep on the same seat, but nothing happened, not even a trace of something supernatural. As times went by, I stopped the idle trips. Something changed in my life. It just couldn't do otherwise. A couple of weeks after my return from the camp, I took up my guitar that was lying lonely and gathering dust in the corner. Striking a couple of chords, I remembered Eliza. For me, her image was inseparable from this instrument. At first, it didn't work out very well. Maybe I just had no talent for music. I started reading teach yourself books and watching music lessons, video lessons. On the other hand, all the effort wasn't a burden anymore. I just played the chords and polished my skills. And as with any kind of activity, including music, practice makes perfect. About half a year later, I realized that I'd achieved some results. At least I could now smoothly play parts of my favorite songs. Satisfied with my progress, I put a couple of advertisements on music forums, intending to form my own band. I still had no idea what kind of music I wanted to play. My taste varied from something really heavy to anime soundtracks. Okay, I can relate to that. At first, it seemed impossible for me. I would have to communicate with strangers. And what if we are just too different? And anyway, how do I explain to others what music I want to make? But it all worked out much easier. Quick little Markapi Sue commentary. It appears to me that our life was changed by the week at the camp, because previously our main character here was saying, hey, I never learned how to play the guitar because I don't do things that take time to learn. I only do things that are simple and give me instant gratification. So it seems like the time at the camp changed us, and I think that's the life lesson that this game is trying to teach us. We'll see if that's true. We'll see if there's even more to this. I'll keep reading after this drink of water. Epic. The potential candidates turned out to be not so frightening, and our tastes were mostly the same. After all, we shared the same goals, so issues stemming from a lack of understanding could be resolved. And soon we had a band. Suddenly I discovered my talent as a composer. Having spent entire days and nights on the note editor and sequencers, I started composing okayish things, at least in the opinions of the other band members and pals I showed my songs to. Quite soon, we gave our first concert, a D-list club not significantly more spacious than my bedroom. 3.5 viewers who weren't exactly sober. I was hellishly anxious and the sound equipment was constantly malfunctioning, but all of that didn't bother me because I was happy, since this was just the first step to success. However, it was a long time before we were invited again. With great difficulty, we managed to record 3 tracks and publish them on the internet. The reviews were far from ecstatic, but it didn't bother me much. It was just a beginning. Maybe some considered our music just a leisurely activity or a brief fixation, but for me it was serious. After all, it was me who founded the band and all the music was mine as well. I felt a personal responsibility for the fate of my creation. Every spare moment I spent on improving my performance technique, and after a year, I could already confidently say that I wasn't the worst guitarist in the world. That was a struggle. I'm glad you guys were there for me. Jeez. Then some sort of popularity came. We were, oh dude, I bet if we become popular, we're gonna meet Miku, aren't we? This could be epic. Or Eliza, which was probably more like, who knows. Then some sort of popularity came. We were giving concerts almost every week, and we were getting paid. It wasn't important that it was just 500 rubles per man. The fact that our work was in demand and someone was ready to pay for it, even though we were usually a warm-up for other bands, was what mattered. I was sitting before my monitor, torturing a guitar. The date of an upcoming concert was thickly circled on the computer desktop calendar. The very thoughts of that gave me goosebumps. It will be the first time we will be the headliners, and we will have an album presentation as well. I wonder how many discs will be sold. Of course, the CD era is already over, but there are still some who appreciate it. And maybe some will buy it just to support the band. I looked at the date once more. Yes, it is exactly a year since I returned from Sovietnoke. My smile reflected on the darkened monitor screen. I wonder whether Eliza would like my music if she existed in this world. Don't think so. She preferred Soviet rock classics, but who knows? I played a couple of complicated guitar parts and conclude, with a feeling of satisfaction, that the sound of my guitar surpasses by far that of the Soviet Ural guitars, and my skill has overcome that of the guitarist of the same era. I wonder whether I would have achieved all this without those fantastic events. Unlikely. Nothing strange about that. Lots of people rethink their lives after stepping close to the edge. Sure, nothing dangerous happened back then, but a psychological shock is a good substitute for grave danger. I mean, I would consider Shirk about to freaking club us to death a grave danger, but whatever. Different opinions. I rehearsed my part once more, put the guitar into a case, and picked all my stuff and headed to the exit. It was cold outside, just like that day. Slowly I approached the bus stop for the 410. Such a coincidence. I'm going to the club on this very same bus. With a sinking heart, I counted down the seconds. Soon the bus arrived. It idly opened its doors and swallowed up a few passengers. It was a winter night, just like back then. They have the same billboards up. Nothing's changed in a year. I feel like advertisements should change. Cars flashed outside, with their headlights igniting the city as it got ready to sleep. The closer we got to the downtown area, the more people there were in the streets. They poop in the streets. Some of them were chatting merrily. Some were pursuing magnificent boutique windows, and some were hurrying somewhere, paying no attention to anything. This day, I had no wish to return to that camp, which is exactly why we will. Any other time maybe, but not today. I must play the concert, and the rest can go to hell. I had a clear aim and nothing else mattered. The one time we don't want to go, it would make sense that we do end up in the camp, but who knows? I don't know. I feel like the game's wrapping up here. I'll get back to talking. The club was considerably bigger than the other one we played our first concert in, but at the moment it was empty. The sound check was going on. I couldn't hear the drums through the monitor loudspeakers, which I desperately tried to tell the sound guy about. Sound tuned, gadgets installed, set list all prepared. It's gamer time, ready to rock. But it is a special day. We are not doing the warm-up. The other guys are doing the warm-up before our concert. Thus, our entrance is last. As I listen to the first band, I know that they have a lot of improving to do. On the other hand, we were no better not so long ago. As the time got closer to the start of our performance, my tension grew enormous. Come on, I was literally shaking with anxiety. I decided not to listen to the other band and to wait calmly in the dressing room. Judging by their expressions, my mates were in the same mood. We were silent. Actually, we had nothing to talk about. Our parts were learned and perfected a long time ago. They forgot the A in that sentence. Only nervousness could hinder us, but we already had some experiences, so everything will be fine. At least I comforted myself with this thought. And now, finally, the time has come. I don't remember how we entered the stage and greeted the audience. My consciousness turned on when the first chords of our first song came from the speakers. While sitting in the makeup room, I desperately tried to warm my ice-cold fingers, but now they ran from string to string without the slightest mistake, as if they were charmed. A thought flashed across my mind. Why didn't I still make a single mistake? When I played all these parts at home or during rehearsals, I never thought about it. Everything seemed a matter of course. But now, when I stood in front of an audience, it felt different. Somewhere deep in my mind, there was a thought that soon my finger would slip, and thank goodness the thinking didn't interfere with my playing. Our performance was nearing the end, and now it was the time for the difficult solo I'd been learning for so long. By that point, my nervousness had vanished, and I played through it perfectly, even better than during the rehearsals. That was a thunderous crowd roar. Finally, our performance was over, and the concert hall burst with applause. I smiled awkwardly, at least I thought so, and bowed several times with the rest of the band. They shouted encore to us. Even without them shouting, I would have been glad to play something else, but we'd run out of songs as we were just a newly formed band. That's pretty epic. Euphoria prevailed in the dressing room as we congratulated and hugged each other. The sound of opening champagne bottles echoed in the halls. All our discs had been sold, which made me even happier. Finally, I managed to become something too. It's impossible to predict the future of a band, or of the whole affair with music. But one thing was clear. I have finally found something I am interested in and can dedicate my entire life to. As well as that, I can see that it may be able to make people other than me happy too. I was probably now the happiest man on earth. At least it was surely the best moment of my life. The club is empty. Instruments are packed, and I am waiting for the others so we can go home. I glanced to the stage where I'd been standing just an hour ago. Once again, joy, pleasure, and excitement gripped me. I wish someone would grip me. This won't be the last time I appear on the stage for sure. And maybe even grander stages like concert halls and Olympic stadiums are in my future. Who knows? Anything is possible now. After saying goodbye to my mates, I ran to the bus stop and luckily caught the 410 bus. Nobody was inside. I took a seat behind the driver, just like back then. Some familiar tune could be heard from the radio. Maybe one day my songs will also be played on the radio. In some way, these trips were similar to the events that took place a year ago. I mean, at the moment everything is as expected. Achievement by means of hard work, and the planned results is fulfilled. But I am returning as another man. A man who has changed in a way. Are we gonna wake up in the camp? So hardcore. Eliza What? We got the bad end? What? Well, that's not... I'm upset. I feel like... Okay, I'll keep going. I'll keep reading. Apparently we got the bad end. Every story has its beginning and its end. Every story has its own outline, synopsis, content, key points, a prologue, and an epilogue. And there is no book which, if you read it again, would not reveal new details you didn't notice before. Every story has its beginning and end. Almost every. Nothing's happening. Okay. I think that's the end, fellas. Soviet game. Oh, epic. I remember seeing that picture. Soviet game teams wants to thank you for playing this game. That's pretty epic. So that says we got the bad ending, but we changed our lives and we're a musician now, but we didn't. I don't know how that would turn out. Would the good ending be Eliza comes with us to the future, if like, but we're in the past? Like, so I don't know, how would that work out? Thank you and goodbye for now. That's epic. Yeah, we didn't get that picture either. So I guess there were a lot of things that could have gone differently. So I'll leave that question for you guys. I wonder what the good ending was, but I feel like that was a good ending, even though we didn't have a romantic partner in the end. Kind of makes you think, like, what's more important? Like passion, finding an activity you're really passionate about, or finding love? I don't know. Interesting. Let's look at our gallery. Let's check this out. I might give my thoughts on the game later. This was a good time. Yeah, that was a pretty good picture. Anything else? Anything? This was a pretty good picture. Yeah, it was pretty good. There's a lot of vacant spots here, but we only had choices like usually 50-50 most of the time. This was a really good picture. Yeah. Oh, there's like 50 here. Cat, girl, robot. A lot of blank spaces here. Wow. There's like two whole things of blanks. Okay, that's interesting. Interesting. Wow, that's a lot of endings. Okay. That's the finale. I don't know how to navigate the same way as Mo Era, where I can just skip the choices. But I kind of want to see the good endings, and there's like 50 other endings. But I still haven't done all of those in Mo Era. I'll just give my final thoughts on the game. I don't know, it's kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't expect it to just end like that. So there was a lot of reading in this game. It was kind of long. The parts where I wasn't in the camp, like the beginning and the end, where I had to read all of that and like not do any voices. There was no dialogue. It was all just narration. That was a bit long. The ending was definitely better than the beginning with how long it took to read all of that. But overall, I enjoyed myself. It was a good visual novel game. Probably give it a 8 out of 10. It's 7.9. It was pretty epic. Could have used more epic, cute scenes. Yeah, I'm just gonna end up saying like stupid stuff for the next 5 minutes, so I'm gonna wrap it up there. It's weird. All these games have like a thought-provoking ending in terms of like, oh, here's a life lesson, but like this one's like, hey, sometimes you can't have it all. So it was kind of weird. I guess we did get a bad ending, so, but I don't understand that. We only had like 50-50 choices, but I feel like what could we have done differently to get the Eliza good ending? I truly don't know. Anyway, that's a story for another day. Thank you for watching. If you made it through the whole series, that's pretty epic of you. You should give yourself some chocolate milk, preferably 1%, and maybe have a chicken breast along with it. You know, you get carbs, a little bit of fat, and some protein. That's a pretty good pre-workout and post-workout, I would say. Anyway, thanks for being here with me, all 16 episodes. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe if you have not already. As always, help me find a girlfriend. And bye-bye.